Have you ever gotten in fights in your relationship and after the fact you look back and think, what was that about? Why did we get in that fight? Where did that come from? Why did I feel like crap after the fact? Did you ever go through that experience and wonder why something was so triggering? Did you even think that you were triggered in the first place? Or did you just viscerally feel the emotions angrily at your partner? Well, it's really interesting because I think there's something that a lot of people, one, don't understand about relationships and neuroscience and how your neural connections shift as you get older. And two, what you can do with that awareness. So when you're really young, you have caregivers, right? It could be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle. It could be some parental figure of some sort, right? It doesn't matter if it's your biological parents or not. There's someone, somewhere, somehow, or some people that took care of you. These caregivers have a certain way of tending to your needs, of caring for you, of hugging you, showing you love, or lack thereof. The way that they interact with you is being recorded in your mind over and over and over. And the consistency of their actions are what help to shape the way you see the world and love. And so as you get older, these neural connections, these caregiver relationships are all repurposed for romantic love. But so many people don't understand this or know how this works. So when you're young, let's say you have a distant relationship with your father, right? This is the male role model in your life, and he's not showing you love. He's not hugging you. He's not kissing you. He's not telling you that you're worth something. So as you grow up, maybe your preference is to date men. As you continue to date men, you notice that you're finding yourself in abusive relationships. You're finding yourself attracting emotionally distant men, people who don't understand their emotions, their feelings, and you're always wondering why. And your friends are saying, man, you really end up with these terrible guys. What's going on? And you look back at all your exes and you say, ugh, I always end up with these emotionally empty men. There's a good chance that there's a reason for that. It's not guaranteed and it's not your fault. However, now that you have awareness of something that could be caused from that from your childhood, there's absolutely something you can do about it. So again, just to kind of recap, we look back and think, okay, what was my childhood like? What were my relationships like with my caregivers? Again, doesn't have to be biological. It could be anyone who cared for you. The role models in your life. Did you have both female and male role models who are very prevalent in your life? Now, psychologically, this is extremely important for our development because those neural connections that form with those caregivers are repurposed and they shift in certain ways once we hit puberty and we go into adulthood. That's how we start to see relationships. And a lot of it could be unconscious. You don't even realize that you're doing it. So back to what I said in the beginning when I asked, have you ever been in a fight with your partner and you kind of just look back and think, what the heck was that about? Why did we get in this fight in the first place? What's the root of all these annoying fights, these disagreements that we keep getting in? Where are these triggers coming from? And a lot of times this could be rooted in something maybe bigger than you think. Now, I don't want to scare you guys and make you think, oh, there's always some deep psychological meaning behind every micro action and everything, because that's not the case, right? But there definitely is some underlying cause that could be causing this pain in your relationship. And it really helps to understand that. So I guess the action for today, for this video, would be to look back and think, okay, I'm in a relationship, a man, woman, whoever, whatever age, as an adult, and think, how do I give and receive love? Where do I feel empty? Where do I feel full? Does my partner know my wants and needs well? And do we communicate that properly with one another? And is this healthy? How do you know it's healthy? You know, there's a lot to uncover there. That's a lot to unpack. Now look back at your childhood and think, what was my relationship like with the opposite sex? Was it strong? Was it healthy? Was it nurturing? Was it loving? What was it like with the same sex? Was it nurturing? Was it loving? Did they care for you? Were they there for you in those hard times? How did they treat you? And if you have your siblings or whoever else you grew up with, how did they treat those around you? What types of things did they say? What did they do or not do when it came to intimacy? Did they hug you a lot? Did they kiss you a lot? Did they tell you they were proud of you? Did they encourage you to be proud of yourself? Did they show you what happiness looks like? Did they show you in role model what love actually looks like? Now, I was very, very lucky because my parents have been together for over 50 years. They still hold hands, they still cuddle, they still go on dates, they still flirt in the kitchen embarrassingly in front of me and my family members. And we joke about it and we laugh and we say, oh, that's so gross and it's so weird. And, you know, we look at it in that way when we're together. But if you really think about it, we step back and we say, wow, this is something pretty incredible. That's so amazing to have a love that's that powerful. And we were fortunate enough to grow up with something like that. And so having that awareness to know we were loved in this specific way, we were cared for in this specific way. So when I'm doing something in a relationship that's either wrong or right, I can look back and kind of understand where it's coming from. And especially the things that are wrong. I make tons of mistakes. I mess up all the time. I do things that are really stupid. I say things that I don't actually mean in a certain way sometimes. I can look back and say, okay, even though I had a great relationship with my parents, and even though they were very loving, they still had their faults too. They made a lot of mistakes along the way. They did a lot of things that I need to unlearn and I need to get rid of and get out of my head. But literally just by having the awareness of that sets you miles apart of all the competition out there, right? It just gives you such a different perspective. It gives you immense clarity on relationships, life, and love. So whether you had an incredible relationship with your parents, caregivers, role models, whoever, or you had the worst one ever and it was extremely traumatizing, there's so much you can do about that. And you can go to therapy, you can talk to people, you can work through those emotions, and you can unpack what's there behind the curtains. There's so much unconscious, subconscious work that's happening that you may not even be aware of at any point. So by uncovering this stuff and kind of peeling the layers of the onion back, you can really start to see why these things are happening. It can save you from tons of fights. It can save you from immense amounts of pain, tears, heartache in the future. And these are a lot of things that I learned very, very late into my 20s. I wish I'd known much, much earlier because it would have saved me from so much pain in relationships in the past. So that's it for today. I really hope you take this message and you understand how to use it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I know this stuff can kind of be all over the place and it's very nuanced and complicated and it's based on the person specifically. But in general, look back, see what your relationship was like with your caregivers. Try to understand what they did well and what they didn't do well, and try to look forward through the different stages of your life to where you are now in your relationship. You may uncover a lot of really fascinating things. And that awareness alone can help you catch it and say, hey, wait, I'm doing this thing. I'm being triggered by this. I'm feeling this. It's causing this emotion, which is evoking this feeling or behavior. As soon as you start doing that and you become much more aware of that, all of the things can start to be actively worked on. So good luck. Really, really hope this is helpful for you all. And as always, remember, take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and I'll see you guys next time.